Hello. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome today to our talk. Today we have a special event. Today we have Dr. Nadiah, who is from the school, Saito School of Education and Modern Languages, and also Encik Akmal, who the CEO of Lescopaque Animation Academy, who will be talking about the Kerjaya Edutainment. So what is edutainment and why? That's the new biggest thing that's going to happen for the early childhood and content creation market. Just a little bit about our both speakers here. Dr. Nadiah is our head of school for early childhood. So she advises numerous colleges, country heads, and also agencies around Malaysia about the teaching about early childhood and education. So she is an expert in that field. Encik Akmal is, of course, our partner from Lescopaque Animation Academy, and they train the next generation of animators to build content for the animation industry lah. So without further ado, let me pass the baton to Dr. Nadiah, and she will continue from here. Thank you, Dr. Nadiah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ho, for the introduction. Okay, I'm delighted to be here today, especially with Encik Akmal on board. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is mainly about the prospect of early childhood education for preschool and also the nursery, and also how what are we going to offer to students, which is the future needs of the of the children in the next 2 to 3 years. So basically, when we talk about early childhood education, okay, we often think about being a teacher, a preschool teacher. Either you teach in the infant or the toddler room, which is between three months to 2 years old, or you will be teaching the older children, which is below the 4 years old, or the kindergartners, the 5 and 6 years old. So when we mention the word preschool teacher, what usually people will have in mind is the act of teaching. Okay, how am I going to teach children in the classroom? Okay, what can I do with them? Is it easy? How do I manage children? Okay, so this has been the normal understanding about the job of a teacher. Yes, you need to understand, how to conduct activities with children. Knowing young children, for example, at the age of 4 years old, um, young children, it's not easy to settle down. So if you ask them, okay, children, let's sit down, probably 1 out of 10 will listen to you, but the rest might not. So that's an approach that you need to use, or that's a method for you to work with young children, not for them to just listen to you, but so that you can deliver your teaching effectively. So for the past many years in Malaysia, for early childhood education, we have been focusing on the same thing, which is pedagogical approach, activities. So first, pedagogical approach. For the past many years, I would say 50 years, we have been focusing on integrated teaching. Okay, I'm not so sure if you are familiar with integrated teaching or not, but what it means is that how can you teach, different things to young children. So, for example, if you want to teach them counting, you want them to count 1 to 10. Is it only mathematics? Not really, but you teach them how to say the word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also you might want to teach them to identify the word one, ONE, TWO. So if you see here, there's an integrated teaching where you teach language plus maths at one time. All right. So this has been the normal method that we have been using in Malaysia for the past many years, and we still continue doing it. Okay, it is an effective method, I would say. Another thing would be the thematic approach. We in Malaysia, we have been focusing on the thematic approach for many years as well, and for the past years, we have been focusing on what is the current theme that is suitable for young children. So what we have been focusing all this while is actually what are the topics that might grab children attention. Okay, so these are the skills that teachers need to learn, okay, or students need to learn before you become teachers. Now, if you with this MCO, happening this year, many things has changed, and I believe we will not go back to how things were back then. All right. When teachers are forced to do online teaching, okay, parents has the idea that, oh, okay, online teaching is the way to go about. Even let's say in 2021, when schools are open 100%, do you think online learning will drop, or they will move away from online learning? I would say no. Why? Because if you look at the current trend nowadays, even children are on YouTube. Children are on Facebook. They know what's there on YouTube. They can say, hey, can I hear the song, this and this and this, where? On YouTube. So even the 2-year-old, loves to watch YouTube. Okay, the problem with us, Malaysian teachers, is that we don't really have very good content creators. Okay, most of our content creators are not teachers. So the problem right now that many teachers or schools are facing is that um, our teachers do not know how to create content. So online learning has been very mundane, very boring for young children. Okay, the first round of MCO, children are excited. Why? Because it is something new. However, this round of MCO, children refuse to go online. Why? Because they said it's boring. I have a niece. She's 6 years old. The teacher keep on calling her name. Erica, Erica, sit down, Erica. Erica, I cannot hear you. Why? Because the teacher's understanding of conducting online learning is a webinar. The teacher need to be in front of the camera so that students can interact with them. However, okay, moving forward, online learning is not just webinar. It's all about creating good content. You need to create videos for children. You need to create, probably songs, probably a short documentary. Moving forward, these are the skills that is required for teachers, especially for preschool teachers. Why? Because parents will start having the idea that, oh, okay, on top of the things that they learn in school, is there anything else that you can provide me with? If I were to send my children to your school, that would be the question, because that question has started coming to some of my friends who own preschools. Okay, so for next year, the parents started asking questions like that. Okay, on top of going to school, is there any online classes, or is there any like YouTube channel that you have for my children? Why? Because that school is offering YouTube courses in case if my children cannot come to school because they're 5, 6. So there are times when I don't feel like sending my children to school. Is there any additional things that you can give to me so that my children can still continue learning in school? So all these are the future skills that teachers need to have in the future. Future doesn't mean in the next 5 or 10 years, but future means in a year or two, because it has started because of the MCO. So what Saito is offering right now is um, not just the traditional or the conventional courses, or courses in early childhood education. For example, the integrated teaching, the thematic teaching, how to write your lesson plan. Those are the fundamentals courses that you still need to learn. But on top of that, what we want to offer you is um, a more current content, which is what we call new media, the digital media. All right. So today, what we have Encik Akmal, who is also our partner. He is he has the, what do you call that? He is the CEO for the Lescopaque Animation Academy, and he will be explaining to us how animation, or how the knowledge of creating digital content can be useful for teachers as well. All right. Okay. So Mr. Ho, that's all for me for now.
Thank you, Dr. Nadiah. Over to you, Encik Akmal.
All right. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite. So, an extension to what Dr. Nadiah has said so far, one of the key executives of YouTube for kids content creation, if I'm not mistaken, his name was Sanup Luke. He did mention that at the moment, YouTube has become the biggest university in the world. This means that people are self-learning through means of just going into the on the web and just going to channels. I mean, for example, if I want to drive a car or if I want to fix a car, I just go on and Google and I will find a video on it. So learning has gone beyond the classroom. So an extension to what Dr. Nadia has said is that the future is not far. Actually, the future is now. So apart from a teacher only being able to manage the classroom, transmit the knowledge traditionally, it is, I think, very essential for the teachers to equip themselves with new skills, or even future teachers for that matter, because in a way this will secure employability, or in a way it will make you have a unique selling point, say when you go to interviews or when you want to ramp up your resumes. So one of the things that I think one of the things that would be a value added skill would be the knowledge of content creation itself, because when we're dealing with children, there's always the element of psychology. So being a subsidiary of one of the most successful Southeast Asia children content, it is not, I would say it is not too much to say that there are tricks and tips to it. You don't just simply create content and hope that the children will like it. For example, one of the main points, or one of the main elements that we actually focus on, is what we call the little details. What we mean by this is that I'll take our content, for example, Upin Ipin. We will always focus on how children behave. So for example, children are very, I would say, less attentive, or they have shorter attention span. So how do you then learn to create content that would actually appeal to them and always make them want to listen, always make them want to ask or be inquisitive? So that's one of the things that I believe is very important, because as Dr. Nadia mentioned example, I actually had the same experience of my nephew being called many times because he was off the screen after a while for a webinar, because children can't learn that way. So we need to integrate the teaching with say video content, or you can even go beyond that. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the term gamification, but learning has evolved so much so all over the world that gamification or gaming, learning through gaming, has been something that has been adapted, if I'm not mistaken, in Japan as well as Finland. And in Japan, it's more towards the arithmetic side, but I think it can be applied here as well. So one thing that I wanted to emphasize is the knowledge of how children behave. So how do you understand what content or what content or what products or digital content would actually appeal to the children? Number two, in relation to that, if you want to be able to create the content, you have to know what the right tools are. You have to know what the right hardware or what the right software is. So that is another thing that is very important. Gone are the days where you can put on your resume your special skills are Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Office. Those are, I would say, done for. So now you have to be able to show to future employers what you bring to the table that is not common. So one of the things that I'm very certain of, if you have additional or certain technical knowledge that is not easily accessible to everyone or to every company, then you will definitely be a value added or an asset to the company. For content creation, there's like a slew of tools and a slew of software that you need to learn, but you just have to know which ones are commonly used, and you would have to know how to use them in your daily teaching. So that's one of the things that you need to also think about, how your knowledge on software and hardware when it comes to gadgets, when it comes to applications, because even children I mean, people can see that 4 or 5 year olds are picking up tablets, picking up iPads, picking up phones more than adults are actually. So that's why we need to tackle that angle. We need to also understand how we can integrate teaching and learning through these, I would say, applications and gadgets. So I think one of the best examples to see is that you can definitely ask probably 4 or 5 year olds, they will definitely have their favorite content or their favorite channels. So how do you, how to say, manipulate, or how do you exploit that particular angle of how you make children always attracted to your content or always wanting more of your product, so that they will be in a way stuck to your methods or stuck to your approach? I think that's another important thing. And last but not least, another skill that I think is also crucial to enhance, I think, to enhance your ability or to enhance your employability as future preschool teachers, or even to reskill or upskill yourself as existing teachers, is how do you design, or how do you develop curriculum or syllabus or even classroom activities that would actually include these kind of technologies or include this kind of tools. Because you see, even in the classroom, I think in Malaysia in particular, the level of technology use is still quite low. So, however, some, if not all, private institutions rather than government ones, they are moving towards more technologically advanced methods and approaches. So I think if the future generation teachers are able to equip themselves while they are studying, while they are in tertiary education level, with the know-how and the know-who of how to handle this equipment, these applications, and use them and apply them towards classroom teaching, everyday classroom teaching, then I think that would be another great thing. So as to say, even myself, if I were to consider a lecturer for my own institution, I would go beyond just the normal looking at what your resume has to offer, but I would ask, what else do you are able to bring to the table? So if your future employer asks you, then you have the answer of, you know how to use this software to make this content, or you know how to use a certain type of content to appeal to children of a certain age. All of these things would definitely make you more valuable, and I believe would make your employability rate higher. So in that aspect, I think that's the three key factors or key value added skills that you can hone while you are in tertiary education level to I say in not guarantee an increase of your employability, but I would say you have a higher fighting chance or a leverage, I would say. Yeah, so that's about it on that aspect.
Thanks, Encik Akmal. Dr. Nadia, would you like me to share the slides, or sorry, your microphone need to turn on.
Okay, yes, please.
Okay. Okay, the slides are on.
All right. Okay. And now I'm going to explain to you about our program, our diploma in early child education, and our bachelor of education, early childhood education. All right. So there will be two parts here. The first part is what is Saito offering at the faculty. And the next part, Encik Akmal will explain to us how they come into the picture and what they will be offering to our students within our program. All right, next please. Okay, so this is our structure for our diploma in early childhood education. What students will experience here would be in year one, you'll be learning all the fundamental courses, which is the philosophy and also the theoretical courses, right? The philosophy and theoretical courses are the common courses in early childhood education, which means that you need to understand introduction of early childhood, the growth and the development of early childhood education, some psychology courses such as managing children's behavior, working with parents, and also some pedagogical approach that are commonly used in early childhood education classroom. All right. So basically, in year one, it is an overview about the early childhood education content. All right. So now, moving to year two, what we have in mind, what we have designed is actually the pedagogical courses. This is when you start to teach young, you start to apply the pedagogical approaches, the theory and philosophy in the process of teaching and learning, meaning that you will start learning how to teach maths, science, English, BM, physical activities to young children. However, what makes us different compared to many other colleges is that we want to focus on inquiry-based learning. So what is inquiry-based learning? Inquiry-based learning is something like project-based learning. It is not just simply drilling. Drilling means we give you homework exercises, now you have to complete worksheets. We don't have that for our second year. Why? Because that is something that has been conducted, or that has been taught in many ECE classrooms for the past many years. So what we want to offer next is more of inquiry based learning, because when it comes to content creation or digital content creation, it is important for us to understand what is the interest of the children. So through inquiry, teachers will be able to understand what exactly children like to learn, and what motivates them and how to motivate them. All right. So that, the content that you create is not going to be boring for them. So inquiry is all about to understand what children want to learn and how we can provoke their learning continuously. So that's why when it comes to inquiry learning, it's not just a one-off activity. So for example, if you want to teach them about frogs, it's not just about telling them, oh, this is a frog, the color is green, but we want to provoke them. What do you want to know more about a frog? Is there anything else? Where do they live? Do you know how? Where do the babies comes from? So when it comes to like the digital media, all these questions need to be answered by the teacher by understanding the children, so that when they start creating content, digital content, they have all this what do you call that answers ready for them to create the content. All right. So that the what do you call that the content would be meaningful for children, and it can be less boring. All right. So in year two, we will focus more on inquiry-based learning and how you can apply it in your classroom. So basically, this is an added value for our students, because many colleges are not offering inquiry-based learning. All right. Okay. And for that matter, what we did is that we want to also focus on STEM education or STEM learning, meaning that we want to focus on science, engineering, technology, and maths. So now you can see that how the digital media comes into the picture and how it can contribute to your learning experiences. Okay, so go back to moving forward. In year three, you'll be going for your practicum. So practicum over here is that you will be going to the JKM licensed preschools. Okay, so you need to go for your TASCA for 8 weeks, and then for your TADIKA for another 8 weeks. Okay, why you need to do your practicum there? Because you need hands-on experience. Besides, before you go for your practicum in year one and year two, especially in year two, we will start sending you to schools, because Saito has a few project schools. These project schools, they run introductory inquiry learning, all right, at the very basic level, which is a very good experience or introduction to our students on how you can conduct inquiry later on. All right. So you'll be going to these schools, you'll be doing a lot of hands-on engagement with the students, with the young children. All right. because I believe moving forward, you cannot simply walk in any preschool that you want for you to do your assignments and all. So what we have prepared for you is, are a few schools that you can work with. Okay, so that you have experience dealing with young children before you even start going for your practicum. So upon graduation, you are already ready to work with young children in any in any kind of schools. Okay, next please. Okay, so this is our study plan. Okay, so what we have prepared for our students is that on top of the courses earlier, in year one, you can take an industry certification. This is where Lescopaque Animation Academy will come into the picture. This is an added value for our diploma students. All right. Because for diploma, you won't be learning much on how to create digital content yet in our courses. So, because however, we do not want you to, to miss that part. So we will offer you an industry certification by Lescopaque Animation Academy. All right. So later, Encik Akmal will explain to you what they will be offering to you all. All right. So and in year two, it's all about character building. They will send you to different kind of schools, which is the underprivileged preschools run by, for example, Rotary Club, MRA, and so on. All right, because you need to also understand the needs of this kind of children. Okay, the underprivileged children. And year three will be your practicum. Okay, next. Okay, this is our Bachelor of Education, Early Child Education. So our bachelor will run for 3 years, 3 years and 3 months. All right. Okay, so in year one, you'll be learning all the core courses, the theory and the philosophy, and also some pedagogical approaches in early childhood education. So that is what you will experience in year one. Moving to year two, okay, this is where the fun part gets into the picture. We will offer you 5 elective courses. So these 5 elective courses, you can take it from other faculties in Saito University College, or you can take elective courses offered by Lescopaque Animation Academy. Okay, what we have planned for you, or our intention is, we want you to focus on the digital media content creation. All right. So if you look at other courses, for example, we'll be offering, new media. We'll be offering music, drama. These are not the traditional content that we are talking about. However, we want to include or embed the content of new media into our program. All right. So how we position ourselves with Lescopaque Animation Academy is that the school or the faculty will focus more on the content itself, on the, what do you call that, on how, on understanding the children, in terms of the lesson plan, what you want to teach the children. And then we will talk about the storyboard. So it's more on the content part. How Lescopaque will come into the picture will be more on the technical part. They will teach you on how to create good videos, how to create good YouTube content, and so on. So this is how we complement each other, and we believe students need this kind of skills for you to be able to, to work later on in a school. All right. Because moving forward, like I said earlier, you might need these additional skills, which is the creation of digital content. All right. Okay. So in year two, this is what we will focus on. We will focus on content creation for young children. All right. Okay. Next, please. So in year three, the school, we will be offering students the teaching and learning of young children. So this is when inquiry gets into the picture again. What you'll be experiencing in year three would be, how you want to conduct lessons for young children. We will be focusing on the teaching and learning in the classroom. All right. So if you see over here, upon graduation, you will not only know how to teach traditionally with young children. All right. not just you can teach, let's say maths or science or even language using inquiry-based learning or thematic-based learning or integrated-based learning or project-based learning. You will be able to do that. On top of that, you will also be able to learn or to create digital content for young children, because by the end of the day, what we hope for um, is uh, is to equip our students with the necessary skills, both teaching and also skills in digital content, so that this is for you to prepare yourself in the career, in the teaching career in the future. Like I said again, future is not 5 years or 10 years ahead, but in 2021, 2022, in a year or two. All right. Next. Okay, so this is our study plan. So it is slightly different compared to our diploma program. So if you look over here, in year one, we will be focusing on the professional certification. This is different than the industry certification. What we will be offering you is more of the first aider certification. Why? Because before you go and teach, we would like you to have to be a certified pediatric first aider. Uh, because I think this is very, very important uh, for you to have this, because in case of any emergency, you're there to assist. All right. And on top of that, uh, at the bachelor level, it is also important for you to be fluent in English. So for those who are interested, we will be offering you courses such as TOEFL and IELTS. All right. In case if there's a plan for you to go for a study abroad. If let's say you don't have any intention for a study abroad, it is also okay for you to sit for the TOEFL courses, because you need to improve your English. So this is all these are the added courses that we have planned for you. Okay, so in year two, this is where the industry courses will come into the picture. If you remember, in year two, we'll be offering the elective courses. So this is where Lescopaque Animation Academy will come into the picture. All right. The elective courses will be offered by them and also other faculties. So if you plan to learn more about digital content, creating digital content, so you can take elective courses offered by Lescopaque Animation Academy. All right. Okay, so in year three, they'll be going for their practicum. All right. Okay, I just received a text message here. From Lee Masters, or from the Faculty of Culinary. Okay, they'll be offering two elective courses, which is basic cookery and also customer service. All right. So we have a variety of courses that you can, that you can choose from. All right. I think that's it on my side. Mr. Ho, thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Encik Akmal.
Just to continue on what Dr. Nadiah has introduced. So basically, where Lescopaque Animation Academy comes into play with this study plan is that if it's for the diploma program, we will offer you industry certification. And if it's for the bachelor program, then we will offer you a full semester elective course. Next slide, please. So let's get right to it. The industry certification with Lescopaque Animation Academy has three key elements, which they are hands-on or skill-centered with little theory, because they are short courses formatted as short courses, which will take a maximum of 2 weeks, and they will give you direct exposure to techniques used by industry players. So basically, with our industry certification, what we will focus on is getting the job done. Within this short period of 1 to 2 weeks, we will introduce you immediately to the tools and the necessary skills for you to have a basic or have a mastery knowledge of how to use some of the software and hardware and tools that are commonly used for digital content creation. And what I mean by direct exposure to techniques used by industry players is that, fortunately for us, as a subsidiary of Lescopaque Productions Sdn Bhd, we do get to access their industry experts who have been involved in the development of movies such as Upin and Ipin, Chris Yamang Tunggal, and also the Upin and Ipin series. So therefore, if you come on board and take an industry certification with us, you will have an opportunity to actually learn from, I would say, the masters, or learn from the real experts who have been tested, tried and true to the industry needs and industry standards. Therefore, if you do take an industry certification with us, I bet the recognition would be as so, because you would be able to claim that you have learned from the best. I hope that's not too much to say. Okay, next slide, please. So the examples of certifications that will be available, I think it will correlate to the classroom need. So one of the things that I think is very common but very, very useful is photography editing with Adobe Photoshop. And I explain a little bit why I think this is one of the things we want to offer. It's because photography editing is very closely related to content creation. You have to know how to make an image look a certain way, look more appealing, look more interesting, to instill or to include mood or tone into the photograph that you have taken. And this can then later be turned into content that you use for teaching as your teaching aid or as your prompt. And then secondly, video editing using software. As I mentioned earlier, the right tools and techniques. So this is a combination of both, because as we know, it goes without saying, digital content or video content is the thing of the now on YouTube and so on and so forth. So we will teach you how to use specific software that will be very useful for you to edit content, to create content that is not only not only good in terms of its content per se, but it's also something that will be appealing to the eyes. As you all know, cinematography is also something that's very important to appeal to people's attention, to ensure that people stick to watching whatever that you are presenting. So this is also something that can be related to children. As I mentioned earlier, we here at Lescopaque group of companies, we actually research and actually study about the psychology of what makes children basically want to stay on the screen. So in relation to that, this course would actually teach you the types of shot, the types of techniques that you can use to ensure that the content you produce is something that would appeal to children and would be something that adults approve. And last but not least, another example is basic digital drawing and design. I think this is very important as well, because if we're talking about preschool children, a lot of the content will center around drawings, a lot of color, a lot of design, to make it interesting and to make it something that they would actually want to be involved in. So apart from just teaching the techniques, we will also be introducing you to software such as Adobe Illustrator and Canva, which are software that are commonly used and easily accessible nowadays for you to create better, I would say, teaching materials, assessment materials, so that it wouldn't be so traditional and so centered along the lines of just what do they call it? Just basically testing and also memorizing. It would make the children more involved. Maybe you can make them also be involved in drawing with you, or you can also make them involved in design and also make them know how to use these things. So your classroom would not be just about presenting or transmitting knowledge on a one-on-one basis. It will be more interactive. Next slide, please. So on to the elective course. This is, I believe, more holistic or more wholesome because we would have more time. It's called New Media and Creative Technology in Early Childhood Education. So the elements would be mixture of theory and practical approach in learning. As it is a semester subject or course format that would be seeing 1 or 2 classes per week throughout the semester, we would definitely teach you the theoretical side of content creation as well, because it's not enough that you just look at the asset or the product, but you also have to look at the behind the scenes, they call it in the industry, whereby script or storyboard is very, very important to become the essence or to become the fundamental element of good content creation. And just like the industry certification, we would also be able to access direct sharing of know-how by our digital content and social media experts. And when I say digital content and social media experts, this will involve the people who are actually ongoingly and actively managing our social media accounts, like our YouTube channel, which is the first YouTube channel that has 10 million subscribers in Malaysia, and also our Facebook channel that has over 12 million subscribers. So it is possible from 0 to that number, but you just have to know how to do it. So in relation to classroom, it's also something that will make you be able to know what can you produce to make sure people are always attentive, and what can you produce to make sure people stay and stick to your class. Next slide, please. So the examples of the course content, as I said earlier, understanding what new media is and what encompasses its key elements. This means that we will be exposing the students to the ideology of what new media is, what type of websites, what type of content is considered new media, and what type of elements actually determines whether your content is something that will be easily consumable and easily relatable to your audience, or would it be something that will not be accepted by the market massively. Secondly, we will teach you about learning about the right tools as well as techniques for quality content creation. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most, if not the most important element for content creation, because without the right skills and without the right hardware and software, you won't be able to produce quality content. For example, you can have a good story, you can have a good script, but you won't be able to execute or materialize that script if you don't know the right tools and the right skills that you can use. Last but not least, understanding factors that make your content more appealing to children and endorsed by parents. See, I believe that this link or this element is very important, because children will like what they like, but is it good content, or is it a positive thing for them to keep watching that the parents will endorse and the parents will be okay with? So if you take the elective course with us, like I said, we do research and study about this. We will teach you on the things that actually trigger or that actually influence children to watch content that is good for them to consume, and it actually creates bond between the students and also the parents, because sometimes you need to, as Dr. Nadiah mentioned earlier, to make them inquisitive, to make them ask questions. So we will also teach you on how you can actually create content that influences or invokes that kind of thinking among children. I believe that's all from me for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Akmal. Thank you, Dr. Nadiah. I think that was a fantastic talk just now. We had a lot of insight about edutainment. We now open the floor to questions from participants here. Anyone who has questions, you can open your mic and ask right now, or you can type it in the chat box and I relay to Dr. Nadiah or Encik Akmal. Thank you.
Mr. Ho, I got one.
Thanks, Dato'. Yes, Dato'.
Okay, just out of curiosity, now what would be the best children to send them for this preschool study?
Wow, this good question. Dr. Nadiah, maybe you want to start first?
I cannot get the last sentence. What is it again?
Now I have 2 grandchildren. Now, what is the best age for me to send to preschool studies? That the one you are recommending?
What age?
What age?
Age, I would say 2 years and above.
2 years and above.
Yes, the below 2 years old, they need the family members. Even if grandparents can take care of them, that's the best, I would say.
Hey, not easy, not easy. Driving instructor. No, that is very interesting. Sometimes this sharing, I just throw one second-hand handphone. You go and play lah. So you just on there, you look there quietly. Don't disturb anybody. So how is this going to relate to your, as a teacher's education? How is it going to be related there? Real life case.
Yeah. Okay, the problem with the current situation where we give them the handphones, okay, you take your time, do your thing, right? Okay, the thing is, what our children has been watching are not content from our country, I would say. This content are from overseas, mainly, even my children, because the reason, there are two things. First, our content is not that appealing to watch. My kids do not look, they do not like to watch content from Malaysia because to them, boringnya, very slow. The music is not appealing. The cause of this is because honestly, in Malaysia, we do not have many good content creators. Alright? So what we want to produce now, on what we need to produce now is more good content creators. And trust me, if teachers can do, can use the technology beautifully or effectively and skillfully, they are one of the best content creators. Why? Because they work with children, so they understand children in and out. They know what children like, what children do not like. So these are the things that we want to produce in the future. Content creators, teachers as content creators.
Excellent. If that case can be taught in Saito UC, then there will be more competent and excellent preschool teachers.
Oh yes, of course. That's how we design our program. That's why Lescopaque, we need Lescopaque expertise to come into the picture because they produce Upin Ipin. And I've met them. It's fantastic if you see how they come up with the storyboard, the animation, and kids just hooked. Not just kids, even adults get hooked with Upin Ipin, And so I think these are the skills that that we need to teach our teachers.
Excellent. Thank you. This will enlighten me how to be a better grandfather.
Thank you, Dr. Yu. Thank you, Dr. Nadiah. Thank you. Dr. Yu is also our Dean of the Saito Security Academy. So great to listen to him and have a lighter side. Any other questions right now? If nak type pun boleh, you can type your questions also. So maybe I have a question. I'll start this with Encik Akmal. So Encik Akmal, just to understand the industry for this edutainment, so besides doing animation and all those, is there other content or media that people can go into or professions? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. I just I just focus more on animation because that's our forte. But we, as we believe in a holistic approach, actually Lescopaque Group of Companies actually has a non-animation arm called LC Film. So basically, edutainment is very broad. And if you want to go generic, then definitely it goes beyond animation because, as you can see, there are still content that is, I would say, centered or focused for children that basically wants to teach or wants to transmit a certain type of knowledge. I think on RTM, they have every weekend in the morning things about science and mathematics. But as Dr. Nadiah said, the problem is not the content or the concept of the content. The main problem is the execution. You have the idea, you have the content, but then you don't have the right techniques to deliver that content. You don't have the right tools to deliver that content. Then it becomes so much so as a waste. So in edutainment sector, there's broad opportunities. Then there is a lot of varieties that you can explore. However, you need to know the right tools and you need to know the right tips and tricks. Because if not, you'll be just another fish in the sea, and the ocean is crowded already, to be honest. But how do you stand out? How do you make yours something that people will talk about for 5, 10, 15 years down the line? And as mentioned by Dr. Nadiah, we were also shocked to find out that the demographics of people watching our content go beyond children, even though if you just look and give it a glance, you will see that, oh, this is children content. But mind you, when we actually do a survey and we are able to quantify it, because we have statistics from YouTube and Facebook, that we actually have adult ranging from 20 over to 40 over years of age watching and being very loyal to our content. So I believe that's it about the edutainment sector. It's about how you want to deliver or execute a good idea and materialize it to make sure it's appealing visually and auditorily.
Thank you, Encik Ahmad. Yes. I have, so there's a chat here. Nurul, Cik Nurul, ada soalan tak untuk Encik Ahmad, Dr. Nadiah? Ada soalan boleh tanya juga dekat sini. Boleh buka mic atau tanya. Ya, thank you.
Boleh.
Sila tujukan soalan. Thank you, Nurul.
Okay. So lepas join ni kita kena daftar atau dia automatic daftar.
Minta maaf Nurul, boleh tanya semula tak? Susah dengar tadi, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Nadiah, did you catch the question?
No. Tak.
Kurang jelas lah Nurul, boleh ulang balik?
Tidak apa, kita teruskan saja join ni, nanti lepas tu baru Nurul kasih tahu apa yang tidak paham.
Okay, boleh. Ya. Andrew ya? Andrew ada soalan? Ya.
Okay, I'm student from Sabah. Last semester, is it okay, impossible if I continue my bachelor in early childhood, but my diploma is different course, means my diploma is management, but I want 2 degree in bachelor.
Okay. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Doctor. Yeah. Last week we have followed also about school. Yeah.
If you have a diploma in management, and if you want to continue nak sambung belajar in early childhood, definitely you can. Actually, it is something that is very good because you're not going into a very specific, focus, but you can apply what you learn in the management, in your diploma in management in your bachelor. Sebab kadang-kadang lepas kita habis belajar, we thought, initially we think we want to become teachers, but then eventually you think that, probably I do not want to just become a teacher, I want to become an administrator. Okay, so this is how your diploma will help you in your career in the future. So kalau katakanlah if you tak ada diploma in early childhood tapi you nak masuk bachelor in early childhood, boleh tak you mengajar budak-budak? Definitely you can, not a problem at all. In fact, it is an added value to you when you graduate.
Okay.
Any syarat ataupun how about the CGPA? Is it okay kah? Macam tidak apa-apa syarat yang macam kunci
kalau lulus diploma kan?
Yeah, diploma.
As long as you have more than 2.5 or 2.75, you can. Should be okay.
Okay, because just now around 3.89 CBC.
Oh, definitely you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
3.89 dah.
Diploma.
Dekan list already. Okay, so we have another question here. Encik Nasrul tanya lah, berapa lama, Dr. Nadiah, Encik Akmal, berapa lama pelajar akan didedahkan dengan program pembelajaran animasi kreatif ini?
Okay. Untuk diploma, kita ada 2 minggu ya, Cik Akmal?
Macam ni,
For the
for the industry certification, however, let's say if can be arranged and the student is interested to attain more than one certification, I think we can basically consider that, but it will be, like I said, maximum 2 weeks per certification.
Okay. However, kalau untuk bachelor program, you be spending 1 semester dengan Lescopaque Animation Academy.
Betul.
Sebab as per now, kita ada offer 5 elective courses. So jadi what we plan to do is that we will sit down with Lescopaque Animation Academy and see what are the courses that they can take. If Lescopaque can offer all 5, then students akan sit down with them throughout the semester. So jadi kalau saya tak silap Encik Akmal, nanti if let's say they can take all courses with you, they will be attending classes at your academy, right?
Yes, betul.
Jadi
I think memang perlu macam tu because some of the tools are not even available outside. So kita memang kena panggil student ke sini lah.
So instead of Saito, we'll be going to Shah Alam.
Tak jauh pun.
Tak jauh, dekat je.
So kalau nak start tu bila? Tahun ni ataupun tahun depan?
Okay, untuk kita akan start tahun ni on the 23rd of November. Our class start 23rd.
Thank you Nurul. Baru dengar suara you. Sangat merdu.
Because saya punya line terbagus pa. Lain.
Okay.
Jangan bimbang.
Lain. Sorry.
Terima kasih.
Tak apa.
Bagus. Okay. I think more or less we have covered a lot of the soalan and questions and all those things. Maybe we give to our panel here some parting words. Maybe we start with Encik Akmal. Some last words for the students here. Yeah.
I think it's a great choice if you opt for early childhood education because teaching is a noble profession. Antara kerjaya yang paling mulia saya rasa. Saya sendiri pun dari background pendidikan sebenarnya, TESOL. Tetapi saya memilih jalan yang lain lah, so to speak. Tapi maksudnya kalau if you are considering diploma or bachelor in early childhood education, I think the future is quite bright for you because peluang kerja banyak dan yang paling penting sekali dia I would say mungkin tak ada penamat pun because orang akan sentiasa kena belajar dan more kids will be born. Apart from that, linking it to kandungan kreatif ni, dia memang satu elemen yang sorry I'm speaking in Malay because I think a lot of people would want that, macam nampak ada request tu, so I would accommodate. So macam saya cakap tadi, kandungan kreatif ni memang dia related sebab kanak-kanak sekarang pun memang belajar melalui telefon, melalui tablet. Jadi agak ketinggalan kalau kita masih nak belajar dengan cara lama macam tu. So I think kalau you guys decide untuk join Saito punya program ni, it's very good sebab akan ada mixture ataupun adunan dua-dua elemen tu lah, di mana akan belajar traditional teaching tu tetapi dengan partner-partner yang ada akan tambah elemen-elemen baru yang akan membuatkan, macam saya cakap tadi, resume kamu nampak lebih menarik dan kamu lebih ada nilai ataupun kelebihan yang kamu boleh offer kepada orang-orang yang mungkin akan mengambil kamu untuk bekerja satu hari nanti.
Fantastic. Terima kasih Encik Akmal. Thank you. Dr. Nadiah, ada last words untuk student-student? Yeah.
Okay. So as the head of the program, saya mengalu-alukan dan juga berharap agar para pelajar will choose our diploma in early child education ataupun our Bachelor of Education Early Child Education. apa yang kami offer, saya boleh pastikan it is not something that is traditional, sebab we have very good partners, we have very unique partners seperti Lescopaque Animation Academy, kita ada Petroscience, dan kita ada Yusof Gajah Animation, Yusof Gajah Studio. So jadi apa yang kami telah rangkakan adalah sekiranya selain daripada Kerjaya sebagai cikgu, apa lagi peluang pekerjaan yang you all boleh ada ataupun that you can pick up after that. So jadi always remember that early childhood education bukanlah sekadar mengajar sahaja. Lain daripada prasekolah, you boleh pergi ke industri lain seperti Kidzania, you boleh pergi Legoland, you boleh pergi any kind of theme park. And then probably to those good ones, you can also enter the animation industry, you can also enter the broadcasting industry. So jadi jangan ingat early childhood ni akan jadi cikgu semata-mata. Tak.
Prospek besar.
Sangat besar. That's why kita ada kita buat partnership dengan Lescopaque, dengan Petroscience. So ada juga student yang tanya saya, kalau saya tak nak jadi cikgu, boleh tak saya kerja kat tempat lain? Boleh. Even Petroscience pun cakap dia sentiasa memerlukan orang yang kalau untuk bekerja di Petroscience di KLCC tu. Okay. Kenapa? Sebab according to Petroscience, they need people who are in early childhood education, sebab the visitors ataupun yang datang tu adalah kanak-kanak. So jadi kalau orang tu dia tak ada bidang ataupun tak ada background in early childhood, it's difficult for them to work with young children. So they cannot, susah untuk mereka explain kepada kanak-kanak. Alright. So itu saja daripada saya. Terima kasih. Thank you Mr. Ho for this session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Teacher Akmal. Thank you, Dr. Nadiah. Dan terima kasih and thank you to all the participants hari ini. I rasa tadi very informative. I think everybody had a fantastic time. And if you ada soalan lain, boleh tanya dengan education counselor yang bawa you datang untuk seminar ini. Dan jika ada soalan lagi yang nak tanya Encik Akmal dan Dr. Nadiah, boleh tujukan dan saya akan forward kepada mereka lah untuk tanyakan lah. Thank you very much and I'll see you guys later next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Lah, saya sempat. Sedih tu. Tidak. Ha.